Hey everybody, I'm making this quick video in response to a question asked by a bidder. He was wondering about noise from the idler wheel, and I imagine, considering its age and so on, and having been stored for a number of years now without being used, these are probably noisier maybe than they should be. I don't really know. I'm not sure how to assess this. So I asked the person who had asked the question, just how I could test this out. He suggested turning the turntable on and listening. So it's tough for me to be the judge of what sounds good and what doesn't. So I figured, hey, make a video, put the headset microphone close to the idler wheel, and that way people can judge for themselves if it's what they're expecting or not. So with that, here's the turntable. This is the left side turntable. I'm going to do both of them in this one video. So there are, of course, the two turntables. Sorry, I've got a light on over here that's causing some challenges. So there's the two turntables, of course, the left and the right. There's two eBay auctions, like I've described in the description. The first auction is for the turntable on the left. Second auction is for the turntable on the right. And if you happen to win both, then you're welcome to take the black case that's enclosing the turntables too. So I'm going to start with the turntable on the left, and like I said, I'll bring my my headset's microphone nearby the idler wheel here, and try to help just give you guys an idea of what it sounds like. So with that, I might not be able to be heard any longer once I move my headset over. So hopefully you guys can still hear on the video what's going on. All right, here we go. Turning the turntable on and moving my headset into position. So the microphone is, of course, here in this little plastic blob. Hopefully this works. If you can still hear me on the video, what I would say as an observer sitting here listening is it sounds very quiet. I mean, there is a sound of a rotation sound, if you will. I don't know how else to describe it, but it's about as quiet as you could hope for, I'd suggest. I did notice in looking at it that the plastic wheel has what I'd describe as a triangular rubber band around it, and that triangular rubber band is worn, or pardon me, not worn, is hard, just due to its age. So, I guess plastics and rubbers, after 50 years, they start to lose their squishiness. So, if this were me looking to recondition this turntable, I might suggest looking for a replacement rubber O-ring or whatever it is that goes around here. Because this one, it's definitely triangular. Maybe it's supposed to be triangular, I don't know. Maybe it's worn out and it went triangular. But, if you take a look at it here, you'll see what I mean. Hopefully you can hear me, by the way. So it has a triangular shape to it. They're both like that. So I'm going to guess that that's intentional. But if they're meant to be rubbery, well, they're not rubbery. They're quite hard feeling to the touch. And I believe, that's probably not intended. When they made these things, I'd guess that they're intended to have a soft rubber so that they can transfer, the mechanical force from the spinning motor shaft up through the wheel and onto the turntable platter to, grip it and rotate. It might also be a matter of, this spring here might have to be adjusted based on the firmness of your wheel. I really don't know. I'm not a turntable guy. But for you enthusiasts out there, you probably know a lot more about this than I do, and hopefully hearing it with the microphone here, in proximity to the wheel has helped. I'm going to put the platter on this left-hand side turntable and, continue to show you what I hear. Okay, I've got my earpiece in now, so hopefully you can hear me well if you couldn't before. Let's go ahead and place the turntable platter back on here. So I've turned that off, and hopefully I can do this one-handed. I don't think I can. I'm going to put down my camera Okay, so the platter is in place and it spins very freely. You know, I gave it a gentle little spin there, and as you can see, it's rotating very nicely. The main bearing in here, if it is a bearing or bushing, whatever it is in the center, it appears to be working very nicely. You know, if I give it a gentle spin, it'll go for quite a while. So if I had to guess, again, I'm not a turntable expert, but I'd say, well, that seems pretty good. So let's turn it on, and I'm going to set the speed to 33 RPM because that seems popular. All right. Okay, with the turntable on, I can hear a very slight noise. It sounds like the plastic wheel, or the what used to be a nice soft rubber wheel, rotating against the bottom of the platter here. Again, maybe that's normal. I don't know. But I would think if this were me, I would want something soft in there. Maybe a nice new silicone one, or a soft rubber one, or some sort of fancy O-ring gasket made for turntables. I don't know. You guys probably do. Here's what it sounds like with the microphone up close to the turntable, and hopefully this helps you to assess its condition. Okay, here's my earpiece over here, and as you can hear, I imagine, I hope, there's a very slight sound of that wheel turning against the bottom of the platter. It sounds very consistent. It's not rattling per se, but there is a slight ringing sound, most likely due to this being a big round piece of steel that's spinning here. So, you know, I'm no rocket scientist, but I'd say that little rubber wheel is rock hard and responsible for that sound. So I'll shut up now and just leave it to run for a moment, and well, you can hear what it sounds like. I imagine the sound is coming from this area below the idler wheel. Okay, well, I hope I've captured that. I'm going to move on to the second turntable now and perform the same test to give you an idea of how that one's functioning. So we'll turn this guy off. Yeah, once disengaged, as you can hear now. Oops. Once disengaged, that sound immediately stopped. Mind you, I just dropped my microphone, so I'll give it a spin just to show you what I mean. Without the idler wheel engaged, it's perfectly silent. Oops, that's me bumping my mic. So you can hear now, there's no grinding, there's no mechanical sound that I would describe. All right, so moving on to the next. So here's turntable 2, the right side turntable. I've got my earpiece in again, so hopefully you guys can hear me well. This is the second turntable. I'll begin by, I'll remove the platter and do the test in the same order. Beginning with the platter off at 33 RPM. So 33 RPM, and there's I guess it's the idler wheel. Again, this one, it's triangular looking. Now, I'm not an expert in turntables, but I'd have to think this is intentional. If it wasn't designed this way, then it's an odd coincidence that both of them are triangular now. But you can see it appears to be made out of a rubber, like a rubber O-ring around a hard plastic wheel, if I had to guess. All right, let's turn it on. And I'll bring the microphone right close to the idler wheel for your examination here. So it's turned on 33 RPM. And I hear, again, a very faint mechanical sound when it's rotating. Uh, I don't know quite how I'd describe it. I hesitate to stick the microphone right in there, but you know what? Let's find out what happens. Maybe you'll hear things even better. So, now to do the same test with the platter on the turntable. This is a two-hand job, so I'm putting this down. So like the other turntable, turntable 1, this is turntable 2 on the right-hand side. And I'll give it a spin just to demonstrate the center bearing here is, or bushing, whatever it is smooth and so on. So just a gentle spin. And I haven't timed it, but I'd say it would certainly spin for, you know, a good minute or so if I left it on its own. I'll leave the mic here and shut up. So it seems perfectly silent when the idler gear is not engaged. So we'll turn it on, and much like the other turntable, there is a slight mechanical sound. I don't know what I'd call it. Maybe it's the contact of the hard plastic triangular wheel against the bottom of the platter. Again, it's probably intended to be a soft triangular wheel, but hey, 50 years old, at least, right? Well, it got old. Okay, here we go. So on startup, you can hear the wheel spinning against the bottom of the turntable as it brings it up to speed here. I'll bring this over. Oh, I believe I had it spinning in the opposite direction of what it wanted to go in, so yeah, that explains why it needed a moment to get started again. Again, a grippy wheel is going to work a lot better, I bet. So let's let it get up to 33 RPM and see how it sounds. So, much like the other turntable, it's very quiet, but quiet enough? I don't know. Maybe time for a new rubber ring? Okay. All right, my earpiece is back in. I hope you can hear me again. And I hope that this video turns out that you can, you know, actually hear the sound of these lovely turntables. So with the idler wheel disengaged, this turntable again is perfectly silent. You'd never, you know, in a perfectly quiet room, you'd never even hear it spinning. It's only when the wheel becomes in contact with the platter that you start to hear, you know, the sound of it turning against the bottom of the platter. And, you know, I'm no wizard, but again, hard plastic rubbing on hard metal probably makes sense, right? Okay, that's it for my video. Thanks, and good luck with the auction.